Turkeys to eat without a flavor napkin label.
So better.
Thanks. I'm ready. Call the March Board of Education meeting to order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, are there any public communications today?
We do not.
Moving on to the approval of the agenda, we did make one addition to the agenda. It is under new business, under item I-5, and it is the Idea Tech contract. So I seek a motion to the agenda as amended
So moved.
by Ben,
Second that.
by Jake. All those in favor? 4-0. Consent agenda. Is there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay, so I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented
So moved.
by Jake,
Second.
second by Ben. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay. Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Janet. Let's go through and I just. Sorry, I just knocked it off of my screen, of course. Everything is looking good. The cash balances are good. The expenses are as expected. I did get the projections in there today, and our projected expenditures are looking good. And so year-end cash balances that we can carry forward into next year and into negotiations are looking good. Is there anything that you wish to discuss, Dawn?
The only thing that I would add is that, expenses with utilities and in relationships to natural gas and electric, we have not received those bills yet. We are a member of a consortium through Greenbush. I believe they're still in talks with how all of that's going to work. But we do expect some increases to occur, and we're not quite sure how big that's going to be yet. So we were told around March 15th that we would start seeing our bills start to come in. And so that is a little bit of a caution when we look at expenses moving forward in relationships to utilities. So we did have one vendor through that consortium that was reported that said, or that had reported no increase. So maybe the rest will follow suit along that, but hopefully we don't see a major increase. I know there are some districts that have received a $200,000 bill. So we're hoping that that isn't the case here, but that was through a municipality, which we are not at this, we're not under that situation. So that's pretty pricey. Now, we did not shut down our buildings during that time because we had to keep our pipes from freezing. We had to keep it going. We had to keep things going. And then also when we returned, having heated rooms for kids to come into too. So we kind of tried to keep it at the standard temperature. So,
We appreciate you keeping it going, because I know Winfield, they did not.
Yeah.
Taking the whole gym floor up, so $200,000 is probably pretty cheap.
exactly,
Well,
exactly.
and along with that, we were being told all the way through that because we participated in this Green Bush Consortium, and we hedged the price throughout that everything would be fine. Our prices were normal. And then we get to kind of the end of that, and the company started talking about a force majeure or basically an act of God that could potentially nullify that agreement that we have. And so we're kind of in that waiting period right now to find out where we stand and if they're going to support it or not. Like Mr. Potter said, one of the companies in that consortium did go ahead and follow through with the agreement. We just don't know if the other companies that we are a part of will participate the same way.
So, you know, we'll see how things go next month. We'll see where we go from there.
Any other questions on the treasury reports? Okay, so I seek a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented
So moved.
by Ben, second,
I'll second.
by Casey. All those in favor? 4-0. Administrative reports.
Principal reports are included in your packet, and as well as athletic director reports. As you can see in there, there's a lot of good things going on in our schools, and very proud of all of our admin and staff as they move throughout this process and spring here.
I liked all the outdoor pictures.
Yeah, pretty
Lots of
good.
outdoor pictures.
Absolutely.
Superintendent's reports.
Number one on the list is the bond project update. We have some videos that are going out. We've got a video weekly for the first 4 weeks, and then the next, after that exhaust, we'll have 2 videos that go out each one of those weeks. We're trying to get better at them. They're not the best, but the one coming out, I think we're getting a little bit better at presenting through video. It's a lot harder than it seems when you go through that process. So we're also going to be scheduling, well, we've got scheduled for the 9th and the 10th going into at each one of our buildings at Oil Hill, Towanda, Greenwich, and Benton Elementaries. We have community meetings scheduled for those evenings. The schedule for that is March 9th, which is tomorrow. We've got
Benton and Greenwich.
Benton at 6 o'clock, Greenwich at 7:30, and then March 10th, we have Towanda Primary at 6, followed by 7:30 at Oil Hill. And so if anybody that wants to attend, either any patron can enter through the main doors, and we'll have somebody there to guide you where you need to be. We're pretty excited about telling our story about the project and all the things that goes with it. You know, and that's basically where we're at on it. I know Gravity Works and has been really helpful on a lot of things with graphics and things like that to help us out. So much appreciated to them working with us on providing information to our patrons.
The trifold thing that was mailed out,
Yes.
how was that decided who it would go to? Like, was it supposed to go to every home, or how was that?
It was sent to every address in the Circle District.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, 'cause
Or every registered voter, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot an important piece. Every
Okay.
registered voter's mailbox in the Circle
Okay.
District, yeah.
Because I've had a couple people say, oh, I didn't get that, and I was like, okay, let me find out.
Yeah.
So I should tell them to go register to vote.
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
That's really all I have on that.
Moving on to navigating change.
It's fun to report these numbers that we have going on right now. Of course, state numbers are down, national numbers are down, but our numbers over the past 5 weeks have been really awesome. no staff cases, maybe 3 or 4 total student cases, very small numbers in quarantine. Things have really improved for us dramatically. And to be quite honest, we had our meeting with the gating criteria committee earlier today at 4, and looking at some of that data, we're better than where we were when we started school in September. So that's really awesome. We're excited to report that. And I think among a lot of things, I mean, just the numbers are going down, but I think just our continued mitigation strategies and those kind of things have really kept that at bay. And so much appreciated to all of our staff and our students for doing that. And it's worked out really good. One of the things the committee's a little concerned about is spring break and how that will affect numbers after that. So we're going to meet March 29th and just look at numbers, but I don't know that it's going to really change a whole lot. There's going to be a little uptick, but fortunately, nothing that, knock on wood, nothing that we have experienced already, so that's a good thing.
How many of the teachers have got their second rounds?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of, if I was guessing right now, 60%, not their second round, I'm sorry, that have started the process. We haven't quite got all of that data together, but another piece to that, Jake, is that we're offering the vaccination clinic through an Andover pharmacy, was it Dan Pharmacy? And so they're going to be coming in on Wednesday and giving any staff that we have that has chosen to get the vaccination, any leftovers that want it, along with their spouse and any of their parents who are 65 and older. So it's kind of a cool opportunity for us here at the district to provide those vaccinations to not only our employees, but their spouses and their parents. So pretty good, and we're really happy to do that. And that was brought forth or brought possible by a federal thing that they got Pfizer vaccinations and they have some to put out. So pretty exciting. And we can work on getting those numbers exactly what they are, but it changes so much it's hard to keep track of it because some get vaccinations Sedgwick County, Butler County, wherever else they can get them. So that's kind of where we're at on.
Any other questions under navigating change? Okay, moving on to modified quarantine update.
This is kind of on the navigating change. Well, it is, but I wanted kind of a separate agenda item just to talk about it. As you guys are familiar with, is the modified quarantine changes in Butler and Sedgwick County. Both of them are now together, and the policies are the same with the exception of in Butler County, it's a 10-day quarantine if you enter the quarantine cycle. In Sedgwick County, it is you can be out on the 8th day with a test. Butler County said, no, we're not gonna mess with that. We're just gonna go 10 days. If they're quarantined, it's 10 days, and then they're out after that. And so there's really 2 different categories of close contacts. They have a low risk contact. So as we're sitting right here and we have masks on in the classroom and I'm positive, then would be considered maybe a close contact. And I don't know, we might be 6 feet away, but if you're considered a close contact, you would not be quarantined because we went through the mitigation measures in the classroom. That's in a low risk situation. So parents would be notified that you were considered a low risk contact. You're able to come back to school, no problem, just letting you know that you were around somebody who had been tested positive. Then you have the high risk categories that will be subject to quarantine, which include pretty much everywhere outside of the classroom where there's a high risk situation, for instance, athletics, maybe music, band, those kind of things. But with our mitigation factors in some of those, we should, eliminate that. But we're just really excited that if we're not in the classroom, they would not have to be quarantined just for that purpose. So there's a lot of ins and outs in there that are listed, and those are included in your packet. But for the sake of time, we won't go through all of that. But I'm really excited to change that, to institute that, and the sample letters to the parents are in there as well.
Any questions on the modified quarantine? Okay, moving on to 21-22 staffing update.
Okay, just providing an update. There's a lot, there's quite a few appointments in the latter part of this meeting, but currently we are still in the process of hiring a high school language arts instructor, as well as an elementary PE instructor at Benton Elementary. Those interviews are either currently scheduled or are planning to be scheduled next week, so, or the week after. So I feel pretty good. We filled a lot of positions with some really awesome people, and certainly we're going to miss those that are leaving us for sure. But we're excited about being able to gain the level of the pool that we have on some of these positions that we really thought were going to be extremely hard to fill. We're getting some great candidates in, so it's kind of where we're at with that.
We have no old business at this time, so we will move on to new business.
In your packet is the negotiations letter approval that we were required from the board to send to our local education association that lets them know of our intent to negotiate and what items. This letter basically suggests just the mandatory negotiable topics that are required by law. For example, amount of work and amount of pay, those kind of things that go in with it. And we are required to exchange those letters by March 31st, indicating our intent to negotiate. So we do this every year. I believe this might be the second year in a row that it's been a mandatory negotiable topic letter, other than something additional. So really, with some of the language in the negotiation agreement and those kind of things that have been cleaned up in the past, we feel pretty good about where we stand on that from a board's perspective.
What are some of the mandatory negotiation things again?
Amount of pay, amount of work. What else is in there?
The hours and pay are the big two.
Are the big ones. There's a lot of other little nickel dimer thing that, little
Like
things
sick
in there.
leave, or is that?
Yeah, there's conditions.
Yeah.
There's some of those kind of things in there, yes. And I don't have those right offhand,
Oh, that's okay.
but certainly I can get you that information. I think there's like 8 of them, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that too, but I think there's 8.
Yeah, like I said, it's mainly the big two that are always negotiated, and the others are smaller items.
Okay. Any other questions on the negotiations letter be sent to CNEA? Okay, seek a motion to approve the negotiation letter.
So moved.
By Ben?
Second.
By Jared. All those in favor? 5-0. Moving on to the mower bid.
Okay, so our grounds department went through and bid some mowers with about we've talked about it before, but we mow about 135 acres or take care of grounds for about 135 acres as a district. And we are pretty hard on mowers when we go through those heavy mowing times of the year. Those are going pretty hard for long periods of the day. And so we need to purchase a new 72-inch mower, and Maximum Outdoor Equipment won the bid for the lowest price for a Ferris mower, and I've got the bid in there. They were a couple $100 cheaper than anything else, and that's also where we purchased the last mower from, and has had good service and everything from them. So
If we look at local, Stuckey's there in Benton, and what's the
We-
mower rate?
we have we've purchased we have one mower that we purchased at Stuckey's here recently. Well, within the last 5 years or so. again, just for the mowers that they have, that they've had the highest level of success with, and the bids that they received. I don't know what Stucky's bid was, if they were comparable or if they were bidding on this one, I don't know. But yes, they have been part of it in the past, and we do a lot of service work and stuff there also.
Okay, any other questions on the mower bid? Okay, seek a motion to approve the mower bid as presented.
So moved.
By Jared. Second,
Second,
by Ben. All those in favor?
make you work for you.
5-0. I know, it's like pulling teeth here. We're trying to,
Casey's.
I know. Well, and I love how Casey's hand fades in and out of the background too.
That is kind of cool.
Comes into focus.
Yeah. Moving on to the bus bid.
Yeah, one of the things as we look at some of these big purchase items and things from capital outlay, I did put in your packet kind of a projection out for years to come of capital outlay. This is really kind of hard to pin down very far because the bond issue will have a major impact one way or the other on this, to where we would have to put a lot more into roofing and facilities and things like that. If it doesn't pass, and if it does pass, maybe we can go a little different route. One of the things I would like to do is to get to the point where we can purchase 2 buses a year. In doing so, we run about 15 buses total in our district. And if we can, on a daily route basis, that is, and if we can get to the point where we would have those on a depreciation cycle where we would get some money back depreciation wise for those every year, that happens for the first 8 years of that bus's life. And if we could keep those buses within that 8-year period, getting that depreciation, we could pay for a large majority of those bus expenses if we can ever get there. With that said, in the last couple of years, we've timed some buses out at 25-year lifespan. So we have some older buses that we have a ways to go to get there, but it would be nice to, at some point, be able to pay for the new buses each year, or a large majority of them, with that depreciation. This bid is for 1 bus at this time, not knowing where we stand with the bond and some of those things. I would like to move forward with getting 1 bus, which is something that we will need moving forward to next year. Supply lines on some of those, unless we could find one already made, sometimes are out there quite a way, so I'd like to move forward with that purchase at this time. We bid those on the Kansas Bus Purchasing app. It's part of the state bid process where those companies all can go and bid those. And Midwest Transit was the lowest price at $91,693. And that is almost identical to our previous purchase that we had last year. So.
I'd like to comment a little bit further, if I can, on the depreciation. When he was talking about that, with, like he mentioned, within that specific period of time, you can get reimbursed for the depreciation expense on your bus through the transportation in the state. So that's why he was mentioned, you know, if you have 6 or 8 buses that you're getting depreciation expense on, that goes into your transportation account, you can take all of that depreciation expense money and put it towards a new bus, which is ideally, and that's what Dale Dennis will tell you, is the newest buses you can have, because that depreciation expense is going to help you purchase additional buses. So we're trying to get there, and certainly with the bond issue looming, that would help us get to that point.
Have we done an analysis on maintenance costs based on age of bus? I know we did that work on our trucks, and you get to a certain year and then the maintenance expenses tend to jump.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can keep, you know, it actually helps offset the cost of a new vehicle as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's the other thing, is like you trade in an 8-year-old bus versus a 20-year-old bus, and sometimes they don't even take them. I mean, so that helps you too, but there is no doubt, we would save on maintenance costs, with the newer fleet or an upgraded fleet, no doubt about it. Now, to know exactly how much that would be, we haven't done that study, but we know that that's gonna bear out as true.
And I bet we could probably get a study like that from Midwest Transit and things. I bet they could provide that data on a bigger scale than us.
Yeah, it's usually, I mean, you get to a certain age and your maintenance costs rise, so,
Yeah.
how that works out on buses, I don't know. I mean, like our trucks at, Butler, they, of course, they've got buckets and, different things, so there's a lot more situations there.
Moving parts.
Maintenance really jumps after, 5 or 6 years on those, I mean, especially the service trucks, once on the road most, so some of the other trucks is different, but.
I'm sorry, Jake.
How many buses did you say we run a day?
We run about 15 to 16 routes a day, and that's why I use that number. That's our number of routes at all the different elementary hubs that then come to the middle school and high school.
So do you think with those buses that we have now, do you think that if we grew any, would we have to add more buses, or do you think we're safe with where we're at? I mean, look at those ones, 77 kids. I think that'd probably take a while to pick 77 kids.
Right now, you can buy it in a 71 passenger or a 77 passenger. When they're talking 77 passenger, that's talking 3 kids to a seat. We don't like to run any kind of bus with 3 kids to a seat. And a lot of kids don't fit in that. But I would prefer to, on our shuttles, especially where we talk about sometimes they get crowded, I would rather have the maximum amount of space in that bus to be able to allow kids to spread out a little bit. And so that's why we always recommend the 77 passenger. As far as your question to, will we need to add buses? It depends on where they're at. And then probably our biggest need for that is not necessarily in the routes, but it's in that shuttle department. And with times and things, can we get, dropped off at one building and get over to the next one? Like at Benton, we often drop off, run to Greenwich, grab middle school kids, and then come back to the middle school. So as long as we can maintain some of those practices, we're probably okay, because the driver issue becomes almost a bigger hurdle than the bus issue.
Yeah. How many of those buses are handicap accessible?
We have, you're gonna try me here, I think there's 3 handicap buses that run quite a bit. And then there are quite a few, we have vans and things like that we can use, but only, I think, 3 of them that are handicap accessible as far as the buses. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me.
No, you just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming those handicap buses are quite a bit more cost-wise though, because of the lift systems, or?
They're usually typically about the same. They're quite often a smaller bus, a shorter bus, and so there's not near much vehicle there. Sometimes you can get by with a smaller engine and that kind of things. However, due to the lift and things, that adds to the expense. So the last one we bought was comparable to this expense.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the bus bid? If not, I will seek a motion to approve the bus bid as presented.
So moved.
So moved by Jake,
Second.
second by Jared. All those in favor? 5-0. Which one handed that?
Real quick, Mr. Jansen, just a guess, and I know we'd have to go back and look at the years, but how many buses do we have currently that are within that 8-year cycle?
I would guess we probably have about 7 of them.
Okay. So we're about halfway to our goal, essentially. You might have to have 1 or 2 different from that, but we're about halfway there.
And part of this, like we said, we would like to get to 2 in a year. And so if we find out that we have the ability to purchase another one again this year to help get us to that goal. I'll bring back the further assessment that shows you, where all of those are and the grades of each bus and everything to kind of give you a better picture of that. I've done that in the past. I did not include that in this bond or this bid.
Okay, we'll move forward as we approve it. To the ACH, just in case you want to know, that stands for Automated Clearinghouse.
Yes, Automatic Clearinghouse Origination Agreement through the Citizens Bank of Kansas. And basically what they need verbiage written in basically they need the board to approve it to give us permission to be the signers in that American Clearinghouse. The American Clearinghouse, what it does is allow you to transfer and move money without an actual physical check present. Carrie, am I correct in that?
Yeah, it allows me to do the direct deposits and everything for payroll. And I mean, we've had it before, it's just an updated agreement.
You have some vendors that prefer ACH, or can be done ACH. Is there other kind of transactions, other vendor and payroll payments that you'd foresee using ACH for?
I don't know, Carrie.
No,
And I assume the electronic, requires two signatures or two approvals as a group. So it's not just one person being able to do.
Yeah, it does, and otherwise, our audit would catch that and say, no, you need two signatures.
Right.
So. Both internal and external audit, I guess, would catch that.
I mean, because our payroll checks, they still have they actually have 3 signatures on the checks. All checks have 3 signatures. I've got, mine, board president, and the treasurer.
It's 3, you got recommended for Dawn, Carrie, and Debbie. Is 3 enough, or do you need a 4th? You think pandemic situations, you get people sick, then all of a sudden you can't process payroll. So that'd be my only concern, is if 3 is enough, you need somebody like Michael or somebody as a 4th signer.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, and it wouldn't hurt anything. We would just have the authority to do that. I know outside of that, I don't know that I've ever signed anything on that.
No, I mean, all of this, I mean, ACH, from what I am understanding, the ACH origination, I mean, it's just allowing basically myself or one of these other 2 to actually upload that file
Right.
to the bank.
And then a second person has to approve the upload. I mean, that's the process. At least that's what it was with the bank we use. And one person uploads, the next person would approve it. So you have to have 2 people involved in the process. So that's my question is, with the pandemic situation, if 2 of the 3 of you are,
I see.
laid out and you're,
Yeah.
totally wiped out or in the hospital because of COVID or something, then you're down to the point you can't actually process payroll because
Sure.
there's not somebody to approve.
It makes sense to add Mr. Jansen to that list. Because that's the thing, the 2 of the 3, I was thinking, well, 1 of the 3, but you really need that validation signature, that validation behind it, so.
If
Makes
you can just upload a file and one person can do it, that's not 2-person audit.
Right.
And that's not a check and balance there, so.
Okay.
Any other conversation or comments, questions? Okay, so I seek a motion to approve Don Potter, Superintendent, Michael Jansen, Assistant Superintendent, Carrie Kilman, Board Clerk, and Deborah Stevens, Board Treasurer, as authorized ACH origination agreement signers for Citizens Bank of Kansas.
So moved.
By Ben, second by Jake. All those in favor? 5-0. Idea Tech contract.
Okay, there's a lot of technical jargon here that I may not be able to answer, but I know Ben has a lot of expertise in this, so if there's some specific questions on this, but our contract with Windstream, who we currently get our wide area network service as well as our internet service from, is up. And so our technology director and assistant directors, Chad Leap and Scott Dunson, went through and did some bidding, got bids from 3 or 4 different different companies. And currently, E-rate, we get reimbursed 60% of the cost for the wide area network and internet service provided in our district. And we pay obviously 40% of that. Well, currently, the entire price for our current plan is $8,934 per month for that service. Our part of that is $3,574. We get 100 megabytes of connection at the high school. We get 30 at the middle school, and then 20 megabytes at each one of the grade schools. So what, it's good, but it's not great. Cox provided cable modems where you get 500 at the megabytes at the high school and middle school, and 300 at each grade school. So that the first numbers I gave you were the WAN speeds, and then we have the internet speeds for the second. Combined bandwidth, we have 2.2 gigabytes per second using the Windstream plan. This plan, the one who won the bid, there's 3 different levels of contracts. There's a 5-year contract, a 7-year contract, and a 10-year. We didn't bring you the 10-year tonight because we just didn't feel like it's technology advances and those kind of things are too far out there. 7-year is even getting there. It's a little too far. But so this proposed one is our price would be $5,000 a month, which is about $1,500 more than what we currently pay, and that's the 5-year contract. Now, what that gives us is 5 gigabytes of WAN between all of our locations, and then 5 separate gigabytes shared across DIA, which is DIA, help me with that term.
I don't know what DIA stands for, but.
Anyway.
Internet.
Here's what, yeah, internet.
Right.
Basically, here's what it is. The plan will more than double the overall internet bandwidth and provide approximately 50 times the WAN bandwidth for our current solution. The other piece that it does is provide the newest technology of fiber, which the state is kind of pushing us to get to that level. And, it makes it a lot more interchangeable, and you can dial up the speeds a lot better and all of that goes with it.
It should also be a lot more stable backbone, is what the state tells us as far as
Right.
the fiber compared to the cable modem process that we're on now.
And so this is a company, IdeaTech. They are out of Euler. There's several districts in our area that are currently using their service, one being Derby, another one Mays, Nickerson, I believe, uses it, and then maybe some others, but those are some of the ones that we've checked references on that feel really good about what's happening in their districts with IdeaTech. This contract price of $5,000 a month also includes them actually running the fiber to our locations, trenching it, digging it, placing it, setting everything up. Of course, our people will have to do some things too once it gets internal, but Scott and Chad both think that this is a great deal, and certainly I trust their judgment that it'd be good. And I know I've talked a little bit with Ben and his expertise around this, and I would say for tonight, I would recommend that we look at the 5-year contract because technology may change. I know it's a little bit cheaper per month for us to do that, but I think us being tied in a couple more years to maybe limits us from newer technology and or cheaper prices. We had a external company called Spyglass they looked at our contract, they looked at the pricing structures, they looked at all the crossing the Ts and dotting the Is, and they said this is a very good price and a very good contract. So we had an external person take a look at it, an external company take a look at it as well. So they felt really good about it. The other thing that external company, we've got them contracted for our utilities and internet services. So they're looking at the major market prices around our region. And they said this is a very good price. And Idea Tech did tell us they're pretty aggressive in this particular price package. So anyway, that's kind of where we're
Part
at.
of the difference between the 5 and the 7 year is with the infrastructure that they need to put in, the trenching of fiber and things like that, they need to be able to recoup some of that. And so if it's spread out over 5 years, or if it's spread out over 7 years to recoup some of that, is a difference that you're seeing in the price point, more so than just the 2-year extension.
So is that our fiber optic after this contract's up? Or how does that work, Ben? No.
It won't be ours.
It,
It's covering their cost to get there, but it's gonna be their fiber network. Yeah, which is ours. I mean, that, you know, if he's looking at, there's some other, other ways it could be looked at, but I don't think you get that price. I mean, we could put our own fiber network between the buildings and have a single point, but it's gonna cost more than that would cost.
And ideally, if you're sitting on a pile of cash, that would be ideal to do it, is run your own fiber, have your own stuff, and then you're only packaging one service point, right, instead of 5.
Yeah, or maybe even, you could even do 2 for redundancy, but
Right.
there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. I think with what's available today, this is probably the best solution. That's why, and I recommended the 5 years rather, because things are changing a lot. I know another internet company, another local internet company is just not ready to jump into this, but you know, a year or 2 down the road, they may be, so there may be some more competition at that level. Idea Tech, I think, provides a good service. They're local, I mean, somewhat local. I'm in Bueller, which is a whole lot better than Windstream. I don't have anything good to say about Windstream. Anybody I've talked to that's dealt with Windstream have had nightmares with them. I'm not sure, I mean, how bad our experience with them has been, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, really hear some nightmares. Talk to the county, Butler County courthouse. They had some real issues with them.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, having a local company to deal with is good. Again, fiber connection is going to be the best solution communication wise. You know, if you have to add speed, I mean, that's more flipping a switch or maybe changing a switch out or something here or there. It's the connectivity, the upward capacity and growth is way beyond what is available any other way. So,
And I believe, tell me if I'm wrong on this, Scott said that we could have, with this system, we could have all of our kids online, all of our teachers online, using the network, doing whatever, and it would handle it all. So pretty good deal.
Well, and part of that is that, you know, in the past, the old one had certain building speeds built in, and that's where that building was. This is as a district, so if one building ramps up and the others aren't using it, you know, more of that bandwidth can go to whatever district is pulling that need. It goes every direction, so if, you know, if the link goes redundant, or sorry, a link goes down going one direction, it'll reroute itself and
Yeah.
things. We do have a little bit of our own fiber or dark fiber that connects like our office and across the street, as well as the 2 elementary schools here in town.
So if we say go, how quickly are they gonna get it? The fiber ran and everything like that?
Yeah, I believe the plan is to have it fully switched over by July 1.
that's the requirements by E-rate. You know, if you get a contract with E-rate, that's a requirement that it's up and going by July 1st. So, yeah, they got a tight timeline, so I mean, that's why, I mean, 3 months, they'll have to build some fiber, and I don't know what their routes are, so.
Yeah.
I think it's a good solution. I think if you've done watching any live stream of the games and you get all the buffering and stuff, that's because the upload speed, it can't handle the amount of traffic that's going on our network here. So example of the problems with the current network.
And this doesn't double our upload speed. It's 50, 100 times faster upload speed than what we were. I mean, it's a lot different.
Well, and that's just it. The upload speed is the same as the download.
Yeah, it's
So
symmetrical.
it's pretty nice. So that's my recommendation tonight, is to enter into the 5-year contract with Idea Tech. That is 60% reimbursable, through E-rate, which would be a $5,000 a month, payment that is up about $1,500 from previous, but it's gonna, with the technologies and things that we have in the hands of kids now, it's a no-brainer. We got great infrastructure in our buildings to handle it. It's a no-brainer to move forward with it.
Are the kids on Wi-Fi on their phones when they walk in here? How does that work?
No, they're on their internet service.
On their personal internet?
Yeah.
Would this handle that? Or is that, we gonna even give that an option?
Well, there's so many other, I don't know, number one. Number two,
Right.
because you run into a lot of other issues associated with that, filtering issues and things like that, that if they're on something on their phones inappropriately, there's just a lot of other pieces to go with it other than just getting online.
They probably wouldn't want to be, just because of all the filtering and tracking that would be done.
Yeah.
So one, they probably wouldn't want to. The other thing is, all of our devices that are online are whitelisted onto our system. So for a security purpose, so that they can't take over, the TV or projector or any of that kind of stuff. There's a security issue potential there.
We have kids that smart here?
We do. We have some very smart ones.
I think it'd be, that's the thing, you wouldn't want any outside devices. From a cybersecurity standpoint, I mean, you'd have to make sure that there's a lot of restrictions you'd have to put in place.
And certainly we trust our kids. I think it's just, it keeps them protected, keeps us protected to keep that separate.
The whole ignorance is bliss, that's what we're going for here.
Yeah, that's not a very
We
good
don't know
cybersecurity
what
policy.
we're-
I can guarantee that.
I'm just thinking of our phones not being on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Okay, any other questions concerning the Idea Tech contract? If not, I seek a motion to approve a 5-year contract with Idea Tech. All you need?
That's it.
Okay,
so moved.
by Ben,
Second.
by Jared, all those in favor? 5-0.
Thank you. That's gonna help our district this time, so.
Do what?
But I already pre-typed the motion, and that's how you all
Is
voted.
that how it goes? Well, yay us.
Yeah.
We do not need an executive session at this time. So we will move on to personnel. Did you want to speak to either the resignations or the appointments?
I will speak to the appointment for sure. I'd like to pull one out for sure, obviously, is our Towanda Elementary principal recommendation. Her name is Dawn Dodd. Dawn has been an assistant principal at Wichita 259 the last 4 years. She comes to us very, very highly recommended from all of the references that we've discussed. She obviously has her bachelor's degree. Her master's degree is in curriculum and instruction. She has her, obviously her administrative level certificate, and as I recall, working on her district level certificate as well. So we're excited to bring her on board. I think she really fits our team, and I think the interview process went very well. We had a group of administrators, and then separately interviewed the building leadership team and counselors and building secretaries in a separate interview, and then we came together to collaborate to come to the decision of Mrs. Dodd, and we're happy to recommend her to you tonight. Any questions on her?
Or any of the.
Or any of the others,
Any
yeah.
other appointments or comments on the resignation? Okay, I seek a motion to approve the resignations as presented with recognition of appreciation for Linda Pyle for her 30-plus years at CHS. And I'll be honest, I was in one of her very first classes when she came at semester, so I broke her in.
Awesome.
Probably not as good as ours.
Okay. And you did,
A little more honoring, I think, than you, but.
probably. So,
Oh, that's
but
funny.
yes,
So moved.
by Jared,
I'll second that.
second by Jake. All those in favor? 5-0. And then I seek a motion to approve the appointments as amended in the packet list.
So moved.
By Ben,
Casey, you want in?
Sure, I'll second.
okay. We have a motion by Ben and a second by Casey. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay. Any other closing items?
Nope, thank you.
Meeting adjourned.